Greetings, viewers, and thanks for tuning in today. Tundra's still in the shop. After the maintenance and the check over, I noticed the carrier bearing bad. I put the new carrier bearing in. Having the truck been in the garage for a couple days, sitting on the concrete afterwards, I did notice that spot, that little drippy spot right there. What I have is the return line on the power steering has a tiny little pinhole in it, and it's just barely leaking. I didn't notice the fluid being low when I did my maintenance. It's right on the mark, so this is either fairly recent or really small, but it dripped that much over 3 days, so I need to fix that. Now, I'll show you something else coming up on here too while I'm at it. Now, those two sets of lines right there, they run out and under the bumper here, that little twisted line, that is the power steering cooler. The bottom line is the one coming from the rack. The top one comes back and goes to the return on the pump or up here to the reservoir. I'm not sure. It does go part way back. It actually, yeah, there it is right there at the top. You see it coming up. This one right here that, I can't really wiggle it. But anyway, that's it coming back up. This one runs, if I can get under there, yeah, you can see it there going under the motor mount. That line, it's kind of crusty. It goes to, that's the pressure line. It goes to rubber again. And at that little coupler right there, well, you can kind of get under there and see it. That's where it's leaking. So it's a metal line with rubber on both ends. I priced it, and I found it online for anywhere between $58 and $86. But having done so much for so long with so little enables one to do almost anything with practically nothing. I have a really good hunk of tube right there. I have a flare tool. I think I can make this with junk I got here and it not be something that, is like a shortcut deal. It'll be just as good as that because I'll put the same kind of line right back in. Now, I changed out the rack excuse me, on this truck when I first got it because, and this apparently is a common problem because I've seen it 3 times now, this bushing right here gets wore out and the rack rubs on this bracket here and it wears a hole in the rack. It happened to my son-in-law's truck, happened to my truck, happened to somebody else I know with the first gen Tundra, also had the same issue right here. So keep an eye out on that bushing because I've seen it 3 times, so it must be pretty common. In addition to the ball joints, and that's another one of the things you want to make sure is good. Now, while I'm under here poking around, you can kind of see the leak there. Yeah, it's up there. Sorry. Yeah, you can see the wet on the return line, that rubber hose with the clamp on it. Also, something I don't like, we'll see while I'm under here, is that rust on top of my frame where the air conditioning drips down. It's a common thing on these. Rusty frames is pretty common on Toyotas in a lot of situations. I've fixed a lot of rusty frames, so I don't like seeing that. It's in a bear of a spot, but when I do the repair on that, I'll show you what I do. I'm not afraid to fix a rusty frame, but I am going to rig up something for that power steering return line. So hang on and see what I come up with if you want to. Okay, that line is clamped to the frame in 3 places. Once at the lower part right there behind the motor mount, and then twice in this area right here. This is kind of crappy view, isn't it? But anyway, in this area right here, there's a bracket on the frame there. That's horribly out of focus. And another one just slightly further up that I also can't get because it's under that clip right now. This is going to be a suck fest, I think. getting that line out, but a necessary thing. I'm going to go start from the back and see how far up I have to go. Maybe I can flare it. Working on vehicles out of necessity, while necessary, isn't near as much fun as making modifications for fun. But you got to keep your work truck working. So I'm going to tear that line out, show you what I'm doing, see if I can't get this right. You can order the line. Whether you order it or make it, it's basically going to be the same process. So I'm going to gather up some tools and assess the situation. I'll be right back. Okay, there's that line. I took the clamp loose and I went to wiggle it just a little bit. You can see it's dripping out the hose where it just broke in half. There's the clamp. The nut is completely rusted, gone on that, so it's all going to lose its fluid in the meantime anyway. No big deal, just bleed it. Couldn't hurt to flush it again, right? But anyway, so that one's broke. We move around to the hood part. I know I could pause while I do that, and I don't, sorry. You can see down there I have a wrench on the... there we go. Down there on that one. That's the one closest to the radiator that you have to take off. And then there's another one that's under there too. Anyway, got to take both those brackets off, which they're coming off all right so far. And then I'll reach down in here and get that bottom clamp off. I have some angle needle nose I really like for those kind of pinch clamps. But there's another bracket right there too. And I'm going to try and get all those off and just get that line out. See if it's something I can make or if I'm going to have to buy one. Well, once I got that line out, there's the broken piece right there. There was no way I was going to be able to get that straight and flat enough, and all the bends were counterintuitive. I thought maybe I could make something and show you, make something, save some money, but not happening. So when I went to order the parts, there are several different power steering return lines for the Tundra. I was really surprised. I found a kit that had just the one I needed, and thank goodness there was pictures, because this did not meet my requirements. This was not the one for Crew Max with tow package, but it is exactly the one that I need when laid down next to my other one, or just carry it over there. This, you can see, is the line. So not able to make this one. The broke part is that little piece right there. So anyway, rambling on. When I ordered this though, it also includes the return line portion that attaches to the rack. So I'm going to get over there and have a look at that, since it all come together. Also included the other return line, the one that goes to the reservoir, which is not bad and not rusty, and I'm not going to put that on, even though I have everything apart right now. Maybe I will. I don't know. Don't pressure me. But anyway, yeah, couldn't make it this time. Getting ready to put that on. It's kind of a reverse of the process. I don't think anything special. It did also come with a Ziploc baggie big enough to sleep in. That's a 4-foot long Ziploc baggie. It came with all new rubber insulators for the line, and a little O-ring that goes on the end if you replace the part that goes to the rack that has the nut here. I don't think I'm going to replace that because it's not bad, but I might when I get down there. Rambling on, here are the new rubber parts. I still got to beat these damn clamps back into submission because they were held to get off of there, and I destroyed them. And I'm going to go try to beat them back into space because I like to put, or back into place because I like to put all the factory stuff back together. So let me fix these, get my line set, And that's pretty much going to be reverse of the shitty process I showed you to get it off, but we're kind of getting there here. Okay, so I got those beat back enough to where I can use them again. I'm glad it came with new rubbers. I saved all the rubber parts just in case I was going to need them. I got my Lexus back, so I'm super excited about that. If you listened earlier, or maybe I didn't tell you, my wife was in an accident. We have Liberty Mutual insurance, and man, let me tell you, that car was in a wreck on the 2nd, and by the 10th, we had her new car in the garage. So they acted that fast to get us our money back. So anyway, that was pretty freaking amazing. I'm gonna kind of be sad to put this exhaust piece back in because it's so funny to look at, and I know somewhere during the shipping process somebody grabbed that like a set of legs and humped it. You know they did. And I'm not saying I did, but maybe I did too. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this line in. I'm going to evaluate whether I need to change the one on the line or on the rack itself. If I do, I guess I can show you that part too. I'm not going to end this until I'm done because I could screw something up. Maybe I should show you how to bleed this out. I don't think it drained the pump, just the reservoir. We'll find out when I get there. Now, while very impressed with the entire kit, and a little more impressed than maybe I should be with this freaking 4-foot tall Ziploc bag, but I like that. Anyway, I am opting to just replace the line that broke. The line that runs along the rack. It has a few little spots of pitting. It isn't leaking. It's a bear to change and I'm not in the mood. The other return line is showing no signs of rust on it at all. This one was in that spot where the air conditioner leaks, and it not only rusted the bracket shut and a hole in my frame, but it rusted this in too. So I'm just going to go through and fish this line in. It's pretty easy to fish in from the front. It does have to go under the motor mount, which is right there. I think going through from this angle right here, I can get it. It doesn't look too bad. That's how I pulled the other one out. So I'm going to put that in, hook the hoses back up. Later when I have another power steering line leaking that comes in that kit, you can mock me, but at least I'll have the part here to fix it. So gonna put that on. I'll be back in a minute and show you how to flush, or rather bleed, that system out. Okay, so fishing that back in wasn't that difficult. You kind of got to twist it around to get it behind the other power steering lines, but if you wiggle it around and just be careful with it, then you gotta go down there and pull it through and then back up here again to fish it in the front. But I got that clamp, the bracket that holds them together, and the little clamp back on, and they're in the same place they were before. Right down there, kind of got it. You can see the nice fresh clean line. Make sure it's not rubbing the frame. I did manage to get those brackets straight enough to put my rubber pieces back in there and keep them aligned to the frame. The other one is, yeah, right there. So it took a little beating with a hammer and some fishing, but I got those down. Now, being a generic part, not Toyota, the Toyota part for this was ludicrously expensive. This is just a metal tube and a rubber hose. I trust them on that. It isn't exact fit. Up there, it was fine. Down here, it looks the same, but it kind of missed my bracket. You can see the old rusty, crusty bracket, so I just put a piece of rubber up there and zip tied it to it. But it isn't rubbing the frame anywhere. It's going to return fluid like it should. I have the other pieces if I end up breaking another part of this, but I'm just going to bleed this reservoir, and I think we'll be done here. Now for bleeding, you fill your reservoir up to full, over full even, because it's going to drain down. I let it drain down and fill up the lines as much as possible first, and then fill it full. You want the front end of the truck up off the ground with your jack. Center support of your frame will do. Fire your truck up. Take your wheel and just turn it. You can kind of hear it, bounce it off the end a couple times each direction. Do that until it pulls all the fluid down. It kind of quits making that noise. When it first starts, it's way more obvious. But that's all you got to do. Crank that around a few times. Come around. Make sure your reservoir is staying full. You want all the foam going. You want to be able to look in there and see that it's circulating around with no bubbles. It's pretty good here. I think I about got it. So that's all there is to it. Take it down, test drive it. If it's a little over full at first, it ain't gonna hurt anything. Looking underneath, no leaks. That's important too. I'm gonna clean up my mess. Check it out again. Thanks for watching. Tune in again, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. There's links to check out. Appreciate y'all. Thanks.